What's up, guys? Welcome back to another one. It's like midnight or 11, daylight savings, no idea. Got a beer, really can't sleep. I've never really been excited for an earnings call before, and I am so pumped about Vuzi's earnings call tomorrow, and I've never really talked about it on the channel. It's probably one of the most popular stocks talked about in my Discord, thanks to Aaron Azevedo and a bunch of other people that are on the Vuzi train with us. It's been crazy. It's come up a little bit in the news with Cathie Wood and ARK Investments starting to get into it. I think now is really the time where I need to bring it to everyone's attention. I don't generally talk about individual stocks. It would be cool if I had a Dos Equis. I can say, but when I do, I drink Dos Equis. But I'm a Budweiser drinker. I just want to talk about the earnings call tomorrow, what I think about it, what I think about Vuzi as a whole, and how I'm up over 300% since December 18th when I got into them, the options plays that I have, how many shares I have, and really what my price prediction is moving forward, and why this might be a stock that you should probably start to do your due diligence on if you've not heard about them already. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all the details and numbers and financials. Actually, a lot of the information I'm going to give to you is from a conference presentation they gave about a month and a half ago. I will put a link down for that entire presentation so you can kind of go in and look at all the nitty details about it. I'm just pretty much going to talk about like my opinions and some things that really stuck out to me before we jump into the portfolio and I show you the options. And you guys know I'm trading options, poor man's covered call, credit spreads. I'm doing it all, and I'll show you like why this is good for some options and why it might not be great for other ones. And also this ties into the video about IV Crush that I did a couple of days ago, because right now in my covered call and in my long call positions, implied volatility and IV Crush is going to be a real thing heading into tomorrow. So right off the bat, guys, from the second page of this presentation, the ticker symbol is VUZI, Vuzi. Company name is Vuzix. They have been the leading augmented reality smart glasses company for the last 20 years. Okay, so they are a New York-based company. They have their headquarters right outside Rochester, which might as well be in another country as far as I'm concerned. Where I live in New York, New York's a pretty big state. This is not a brand new company. They had their IPO date back in 2009. So guys, an established company that kind of has been like teetering along in the commercial sector, and I think now that it's going to start to approach like the consumer and just regular old people like us, I think that's really going to be the thing that's going to help them move even more. So as we can see, guys, offices US, Canada, UK, Japan, small company, 90 companies. And from this presentation, we also learned that they are going to beat their expected earnings tomorrow. They kind of already hinted at that back in January. This was January 15, 2021. So we already know that earnings are going to be good tomorrow from an earnings standpoint, but there's going to be some other factors leading into this earning calls and some things and that they've been talking about and releases of products and stuff, that it's not just a layup on this earnings call. There's definitely going to be some things that can either shoot this company up in share price or have it even pull back. And I'll show you some of those things that might lead to it in just a little bit. Now, I got to admit, when I first read this quote right at the top, the next big trend in technology would be smart glasses we wear everywhere. I'm going to show you what they look like in just a second. And I can't see that. Like, for me to think that we are going to be wearing smart glasses, as somebody that wears glasses, these are very outdated as they are, but they're not exactly fashionable, and I can't picture it where this is going to be the next big thing. And I know that companies like Google have tried smart glasses in the past, and Vuzi is very, very confident with 5G and their integrations and the platforms that they have already and their potential for growth. They have a plot of land right across the way from them, which they can expand production at pretty much the snap of a finger. They just think that, their product is very, very good, and we're going to see some of their competitors, but they think the time is now. Really, they think that they're in a position right now with our technologies and what we can do with the internet and things like that and Wi-Fi. Right now is going to be the thing that's really going to drive them forward. And failures that we've heard with smart glasses in the past have kind of just been a timing issue more than a is this going to work issue. If they can make it fashionable and if they can keep the price down, maybe they're right. Maybe it will be the next big trend in technology that we see everywhere. So, I mean, the elephant in the room definitely is going to be what's been going on over the last year. and our need for virtual learning and things like that. And we talk about the driving demand for these smart glasses. And as I'll show in just a second, especially in the medical field and people that I know in the medical field that have got their hands on this product already in the commercials I've seen for it, I understand that demand. And I do not think that this graph here is an exaggeration for the demand moving forward, even when things, quote, go back to normal and maybe our virtual lives kind of die down a little bit. I think what we've learned from this over the last year that there are still some great virtual things that we can use even post-pandemic, right? There's certain things that we're learned that we were forced into understanding and forced into learning that we kind of realized we're like, man, this is kind of great. I mean, parent-teacher conferences for me, I don't think we're ever going to do parent-teacher conferences in person ever again. They were so great on Google Teams. And I think things like that, learning and being able to be there in surgery and have somebody looking right through your eyes, I think that's something that's going to stick around even post-pandemic. So some more quick stats, guys. Q4 2020 revenue increased by more than 100% to $4 million. Okay, so they doubled their revenue. Q4 2020 smart glass production sales increased more than 100% as well. Like, granted, were they kind of forced into this situation? Yes, I totally agree with that. And if there was no pandemic, would we be even talking about this? Nah, maybe not right now, but I think it would have caught up eventually when you see how great this product is for the things that it can do. And the pros of this are the pros of most things that we've seen in the virtual world over the last year. Increases in productivity. I know people that are working from home, they're getting their work done, actually a little bit more productive than going to the office. Right now, we don't have to send people all over the world to do trainings and things like that. We can do a lot of these trainings virtually. It lowers the carbon footprint, all these wonderful things that we're seeing with all of tech, not just in Vuzi, but Vuzi is definitely a part of that leading technology. So here's a look at some of their current products now and also some things that they have moving forward. And that's kind of one of the things that we're looking forward to in this earnings call tomorrow. What's going on with the next gen, the 2021s, as we can see down here in the bottom right. And we'll see, like, they are not the only person doing this. There are competitors, but they still feel like even with their competition, they still are leaps and bounds ahead. And I have to agree. Here are some of the things that they're doing with these glasses on the commercial side, guys. Warehouse logistics, being able to scan products, see products, things like that. Manufacturing, I think in medicine, I think this is going to be huge. I have a lot of friends in the medical field, not only that have been active in the medical field, but are also training, that have literally had their professors in another room looking through their glasses at what they're looking at in experimental surgeries and things like that. I think the medical field, that's going to be huge for this company. And then, like I said, field service, being able to send a technician and have maybe a second set of eyes, literally, or somebody that's a real professional in something. You have a question, throw these glasses on, everyone's looking at the same thing while talking right into their ear. It's like having somebody else literally right over your shoulder, being able to see the things you're seeing. I don't see any cons in that at all. I said, once again, guys, diving into the medical field and seeing things in sanitation, being able to link up with things like Skype, things like Zoom. The medical field is really the one that I'm holding on to that I think is just going to be crazy. Currently being worn by medical professionals for 16 plus hours straight during surgeries. The person that I spoke to, it's light. It's like they're wearing so much in surgery, they don't even realize it's there after a little bit of training. It's going to be huge. Like I said, I won't go through all the hospitals and universities using this. I will link this whole presentation down in the description down below, guys. But you can see a ton of stuff going on. Also working with all of these other customers as well. Some huge names on here. Names you're going to see all over the medical field. Virtual rounds, guys, long-term care, surgeries, knee replacement, everything that they're using right now. All right, this is not stuff they plan to be using in the medical field. This is stuff they are using right now. This video right here in the presentation, guys, awesome. If this is part of your due diligence, check out the video. It's just impressive. When you see a product, these are the things that we want. These are investments that we want to be making. Right? I'm buying stocks on things that I see and I think are going to be amazing, not only now, but in the future. And I don't think this stuff is going to seem so like super techy and nerdy in the very, very short years to come. Some other highlights here. Verizon recently selected Vuzi for its 5G-enabled EMS solutions. Things even outside the medical field were also going into retail spaces. Here's kind of a look at those glasses as well, and there's a video. All these presentations have videos. They kind of go through all the features. I won't bore you with that stuff. Some notable smart glass usage developments over the last couple months. Guys, Plug Power, huge company in 2020. Hopefully going to be continuing their tear in 2021. Like I said, partnering up with Vuzi here. So the presentation also talked about like the different features of the glasses. If you want to get into exactly what they can do, what they see and stuff, this is definitely going to be a place where you can see that. All right, guys, so here's the competition base that they're looking at, and we're talking about price point. And they have some other key metrics, like battery life is definitely going to be a big one. We know it's cell phones. Battery life is going to be huge. Weight, how comfortable these things are to wear. We see typically 8 hours long for the most of their shifts. All right, so we have these different types of integrations too. Are they going to fit on a hard hat? Or can they be sterile inside of surgery, things like that? And what does the price point kind of look like? And I went back and I kind of looked at all these competitors, and really they don't really hold a candle to what Vuzi is already doing and what they have the potential to do very, very soon. Here's the different mounting options that we just talked about on top of hats, hard hats, things like that. And here's kind of the next gen, guys. This presentation, like I said, goes on for 45 pages, but I won't bore you with all that. Let's look in now and see how I'm making money with them and the returns that I've seen so far by looking over at Robinhood. Right now I have 2 long calls. I have a $5 strike if we open these up. So I have a $5 call. I paid $400 for each one of these, $800 total. Right now that has a current return of $2,760 for a 345% return. That's without the covered calls that I've been selling against them. Now, as I'll mention in one second when I show my spreadsheet, guys, Vuzi has not been one of those stocks that's great for the poor man's covered call. In the video I did about the poor man's covered call, which I think now has over 250,000 views, I'll leave that down in the description below. I talk about how some stocks are just not great for the poor man's covered call, especially these stocks that are going to be shooting up in high volumes, having 10% days, things like that. Because in the poor man's covered call, we kind of want these steady growers over long term because we want to be placing covered calls with pretty small deltas. Well, I found with Vuzi over time, even placing deltas of 0.1, 0.2, many times they were jumping up and having these days which were just crushing me, and I was having to roll at a loss. And I'll show you how many covered calls I've actually had at a loss and what my true potential would have been if I would have just held the calls. Because I used to also have long calls at 750, but I had to close all those to cover some of my mistakes with the poor man's covered call. And with that said, you'll see that I currently have short calls against them at a $25 strike. Guys, my mindset with this was, if we know the poor man's covered call, if this were to get assigned, it's the difference in the strikes minus the premium that you've paid. I essentially have collected enough premium to break even on the premium I paid for those long calls. And the difference in the strikes is $20. So that's $2,000 profit, even at assignment, worst case scenario for me. But you'll see right now, those have a value of minus 190. I have a expiration this week. But what I'm hoping for is, even if the share prices were to shoot up after earnings, implied volatility right now because of earnings, I'm hoping for that Ivy crush. So right now the market value of these is $250. I got $60 credit for these. What I'm hoping is after earnings, before Friday the 19th, I want Ivy crush to be in my favor here with these covered calls, dive the premium down, and then I can either buy to close them if I think they're going to get assigned, because right now they're trading at $21.79 with this 25 call. And I'll show you in one second why I believe, with the advice of other people that are much smarter than me, how possibly we could shoot way past this $25 mark even tomorrow or throughout the week. I'll also answer a question I get inside the Discord all the time is, are we too late on Vuzi, right? Is that ship already passed? And if you're watching this, you already missed it. I'll talk about that in one second. If you do want to dive inside Discord and get inside that conversation with 400 of us, like-minded individuals talking about stuff like this, I'll leave a link down for Patreon down in the description below. But if we look at this spreadsheet, I call it Vuzi Madness because I've made a ton of trades. This also shows that I don't really let anything get to expiration. It all started on December 18th when I made those 2 calls. Their current value, as I just mentioned, $16.55 each. But guys, here's all the covered calls. Every time you see sell call, this was premium that I collected, and then you could see what the value, what I had to buy to close those at, because I wanted to protect these call options. So I was actually rolling at a loss. Guys, this one was a big one. I got $45 for this, but it cost me $991 to close. So that was a net profit of minus 946. So guys, some stocks are just not great for the poor man's covered call. This was while I was learning the poor man's covered call. And like I said, I paid the price for it, but I still did the right thing in closing at a loss, because if I would have let those expire, I wouldn't have been nearly as profitable with my long calls, right? The delta on these calls right now is probably 0.97 or so. So I really want to protect the value of those, even if I have to buy to close at a loss. Some of them I've made a gain, but most of them, guys, I've had to close at a loss. I've tried some spreads, things like that. It just didn't work out in my favor. So as we can see right here, I had those two open ones. And once again, current value, minus 25, where I only got $30 for them. Seems like it might be a mistake. And hey, I might end up having to buy to close those as well. But I'm hoping for some Ivy crush. And hopefully I'll get the value down closer to where I can buy to close it at not such a big loss. So my net premium, guys, it started at 800. Right now it's at 473. So I have made a little bit of money back. With that current value, if I close all my options, I'll end up with $2,586 with a net invested amount of 473. That's a net profit of 2112 for a 446% return since December 18th. That does not suck. Now, as far as what this stock is going to do in the future, is it too late, guys? First off, not a financial advisor. I'm just a F-boy here on YouTube. What the hell do I really know? But I will say that I'm very confident in my investments, and I do not think that this $21 range is the stop or even close to what the highs potentially could be. Like I said, we were trading down in the 5 to 7 range just in December, and it's really starting to get its foothold now. I think with a really good earnings call, we're going to see some things, especially with Q1 just about to end. We're going to get some more reports. Guys, I still think the stock has a lot of room to run. Granted, are you going to get in at the $5, $7 calls like we did back in December? No. But like I said, I'm not really worried about 25, 30. I kind of want to see this thing at $50 plus, and I think it has the potential to do so in this coming year, 2021, and even into 2022. I did not mention, I also own 100 shares of it inside my personal portfolio. I do not sell calls against it. It's just hanging out, sitting there. It's one of my favorite growth stocks. It's a company that I love doing research on as an engineer and a scientist myself. So like I said, please don't ask me, like, is it too late? That's really up to you to decide. You get to choose the value and what price point after your due diligence. But I know that I'm going to be holding it pretty much through earnings. Let's see what goes on. I'm not touching my 100 shares. We'll see about what happens with future option plays. So I don't think this is going to be the end for them. I think their share price is possibly going to double this year. So guys, I have to give credit how I found out about this. Was one of my moderators, Aaron Azevedo. Aaron, thank you so much for teaching me about Vuzi. He posted this in the Discord the other day for everybody. I just want to kind of give what he said, because if I just said it, I'd be plagiarizing what he said, because I kind of agree 100% what he says. Vuzi has their earning on Monday. I honestly can't predict what's going to happen. I currently have 800 shares, 7 long calls. I'm holding my entire position through earnings. I'll reevaluate my position and stance on the company after earnings. Guys, people are asking him all the time what he's doing. In case you didn't know, Vuzi has already stated back in January in that presentation I just spoke about that they will beat their revenue. Analysts did not adjust their earnings estimate. So as a result, I'm projecting a 4-cent beat on earnings. However, I think that 4-cent beat is built into the current price and current volatility. So what will move the stock? In my opinion, the stock price will move based on discussions of upcoming orders. They've mentioned several times that they have a plot of land across the street they can expand to in a moment's notice if they need to increase production. I'm personally looking for some insight as to what they're projected to outgrow in their current production capabilities. If they aren't getting behind in production, I could see the stock falling short term. I'm also looking at the price point, release date, and production numbers on their next gen smart glasses. If they fail to provide meaningful estimates in their NGSG, I think the stock price will fall as well. I'm looking for increased orders, estimates on NGSG, commitments from vendors to engineers and new unique uses, basically from new R&D. And some insights to their defense commitments are, if they hit all these, I think the stock could hit $30 on Monday. So, Aaron, I'll be watching with you, as well as all of the members inside the Discord, guys. If you found some value in this, please give the video a thumbs up. Do your due diligence. Let me know down in the comments below. Are you down with Vuzi? Have you heard of them before? Are you going to be looking to get into them? Until I see you guys in the next one, stay positive. Work really, really hard. Always, please, be kind to other people. Hope you have yourself an amazing day and an even better tomorrow.